Happy 250th YCS.
Aye. Subscribe.
Today I'm going to be showing you the final list I've decided on for YCS London, and therefore the finale of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Properly. We'll also talk about my expectations for the event and see how wrong I was after the fact, because that's inevitable. Of course, this does mean spoilers for the series, so if that matters to you, you can turn away now, but I also wanted to have the final deck list as a separate video so people could refer to it without having to click through the actual episode. I uploaded a similar deck profile with combos a few weeks back, but decks in theory have changed so much since then. This really is a super hard format to prepare for, and space in Branded is extremely tight. So I guess we'll get into the list and talk about tech choices and expectations for this event specifically. But first, this episode is sponsored by Sin Souls. Sin Souls is a brand new TCG debuting with a unique 3-lane battle system and some great art from a ton of different anime artists. Their Kickstarter launches on April 2nd with 6 starter decks and an expansion set of over 100 cards based on its own world building and lore. Each new set releases with its own free comic as well, so if you're looking for a new story to follow or a new game to play, this could be perfect for you. And the best part is you can check it out early for free, whether it be through Tabletop Simulator or the free print and play files they have on their website, which I'll have links to in the description down below, so give it a go, and thanks once again to Sin Souls for sponsoring this video. Alright, so we're looking at a 44 card main deck here, and the reason I went up to 44 was because I believe non-engine is going to be key at this event. Branded having such a heavy engine requirement and general lack of consistency means it's not the greatest of picks right now in that regard, but I've tried my best to build around it. So getting into our starters, we are of course still on the 3 keeper gang. I've seen a lot of people hate on this card without giving any genuinely thoughtful reasons, and I stand by my decision. The neg from the discard makes up for the advantage you gain through resolving the effect, and literally a quarter of the deck allows you to keep playing through an interruption on this card. You're summoning Dragoon before Branded Fusion if you're going through the keeper line, and therefore your opponent has to answer it or else they can't ash your Branded Fusion. Moving on, of course, we have the instant fusion to go alongside it. Just 2 Aliber, giving us a total of 5 hard normal summons, which is still the optimal number for a 44 card deck. And then we have the 3 branded opening to go along with them. Foolish, you could argue, is technically a 6th normal summon, but has additional applications like dumping Adlib, Dark Magician, Cartesia, etc., so it's worth playing. And then 3 branded fusion rounds out our starters, and that's 13 total. In a 44 card deck, that's about an 85% chance of seeing at least one, which is also the same percentage of seeing a starter in the standard 40 card builds that play 12 starters. The difference being, in the standard build, every starter just gets you to a branded fusion, and therefore you have no way of protecting yourself from Ash on branded fusion. Moving on to engine requirements and whatnot, we of course have the 3 fusion deployment with Cartesia to dodge imperms, actually make somewhat of a board through interruptions, and set up things like Adlib. We are still running 2 Albaz. Kashtira aren't as much of a threat anymore, just typically banishing 3 off your deck to go for a Rise Heart, and we have a bunch of hand traps to prevent the larger combos from popping off, so 2 is fine. We of course also have the standard engine lineup of 1 Tragedy, 1 Ad Libitum, 1 Albion, 1 Mercurier, 1 Bestial Lubellion, and Dark Magician. And then we also have the 2 Predaplant bricks. You should only be playing this engine in place of Saronir and Retribution, otherwise you end up running too many bricks. Engine spells and traps, we have 1 branded Lost, 1 branded in red, and 1 branded Banishment. Banishment dominates the mirror match and acts as an out to silly things like Scareclaw Tryhard, but it also allows you to play through the odd Nibiru or Lava Golem. Kaijus are also very popular in the format right now as a sort of main deck counter to a Rise Heart pass. At least a lot of lists are main deck in Kaijus, and so Banishment also plays around that by just reviving whatever gets Kaiju'd as if nothing happened. Finally, for our non-engine, we have a total of 14 slots. Now that could be 14 hand traps or a mix of hand traps and board breakers, but I am still playing the main deck Crossout and Called by the Grave. You could easily side deck the Crossouts in place of other non-engine. I know a lot of people don't like maining the Crossout. I wanted to maximize its value while also having a good percentage chance of opening a hand trap, so I've opted for 10 hand traps in total, which is a 75% chance of seeing at least one. So I've opted to go for 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Infinite Impermanence, 2 Nibiru, 1 Veiler, and 1 Ghost Bell. With a lot of people turning to going second cards in board breakers like books, evenly, kaijus, etc., there's going to be a lot of FTK decks that try to take advantage of that, whether it be the 5 Zone Lock Kashtira, or Drytron, or Dark World. And I want to be prepared for that, as our engine can easily OTK through interrupted boards. Ash and Imperm are obviously the most generic and useful ones in a very wide format, but Imperm is especially important for dealing with weaknesses like Naturia Beast. Nibiru is definitely a coin flip, but I'd rather have it than get caught with my pants down. If Kashtira end on Arise Heart Pass, that's not actually too big of an issue for our engine to deal with, so the threat of Nibiru should force that matchup into an interesting game. It also just blends super well with Imperm or Veiler into big adventure and sprite boards, alongside all the rogue in the format as well. I think it's justified. Veiler is very popular right now and essentially just a 4th Imperm, while Bell is also gaining popularity as it has a lot of applications in the format. I've seen a lot of lists playing 3 of these in the main deck. It's not the biggest threat to our deck outside of like Expulsion, to be honest, but I wanted another hand trap to hit Dark World on something like Suruli, or, you know, like Mathmech on Super Factorial. But yeah, that rounds out our 44 card main deck. Going into the extra deck, I don't think much has changed since last time, except maybe 1 card being switched. Starting off, we have our instant fusion targets, Ambulance and Millennium Eyes. Millennium Eyes is cracked at helping break through boards, and also makes instant fusion on its own a powerhouse of a card if you see it with the Despia engine and protect the plays. 2 Albion, 2 Lebellion, and 2 Mirror Jade, followed by 2 Dragoon should be standard, even though Kashtira typically aren't going for the Diabolosis line now. I think we might see a lot more of it in this event, so we're definitely prepared for that. Then we have 1 Dragostapelia because the second was win more. We have 1 Guardian Chimera, 1 Sprint to play through Contact C. I don't think we'll see much of it at this event, to be honest, but it's better to have it just in case, because, you know, there's 4,000 people there. Someone's going to be playing Contact C. But then finally we have Grand Guignol with Queritus, and I've been back and forth between Priscinian and Queritus, but Queritus has a bunch more applications. Now moving on to the side deck, we of course have our Expulsion package in the form of Gimmick Puppet. We are on the Jinzo and branded Expulsion there as well, of course. 1 D-Barrier as a crossed-out target. Honestly, I don't know how many people are going to have Barrier in the side deck now that Despia's kind of fallen off, but we still need to play around it and side it in going second every time. 2 Cosmic Cyclone. Cyclone is just great in every matchup, and obviously people are going to be siding in Floodgates, things like Super Ancient Organisms or Grave of the Super Ancient Organisms, Anti-Spell Fragrance, so we definitely need Cosmics for things like that. It's also there for back row matchups, and especially the Runic matchup hitting the field spell. Yeah, Cosmic is just a very good card, especially coupled with Evenly Matched. Like, if you go evenly against Runic and then they keep the field spell and you cycle on the field spell, you're basically golden. Yeah, it's just a 3 of in everybody's side deck, so honestly there's no surprise there. But the next card we have is 3 Dark Ruler No More. I think most people are kind of over preparing for cash and not preparing enough for things like Adventure Sprite and, you know, Melfi Sprite and all that, and those decks kind of crumble to a Dark Ruler No More. I also needed more answers to boards like Naturia Runic with Nat Beast and Baron, so I feel Dark Ruler is a very good card for branded in the side deck. And then the final 3 in the side deck is a bit of a wild card. I've opted for 3 Bestial Magnamut as 3 additional pieces of interaction going second against Dark World, so we can maximize on our interruptions. It's also good against Mathmech, Drytron, Tyr, you know, all the sort of light and dark decks that are making a comeback with the lack of Bestials in the format. You could make an argument for 2 Magnamut and 1 Druis Worm, but Magnamut being able to search Keeper of Dragon Magic is essentially an FTK if it's actually interrupting your opponent's board making process, because it guarantees your most powerful starter on the clapback and then you essentially just win from there. It also provides us with a little bit of utility against Ibli, so if we get Ibli locked we can do nothing about it. So having the Magnamut in there to double as a tribute summon over the Ibli, if we do see Kashtira like playing Ibli, I don't think it's very popular right now, but if we see them reveal an Ibli off of Prosperity or something, we're going to have to side in Magnamuts and Jinzo to tribute summon over the Ibli, otherwise we kind of just lose to it. And that's the weird thing about this format, it's like you can't side for everything, so you just have to accept the fact that you're going to lose to some things. But yeah, that is the deck. By the time you're seeing this, we'll probably be halfway through day 1, I believe. I'm super excited, it's my second ever YCS, so fingers crossed that we do well and pull out a banger of a finale. Good luck to everyone else that's participating, and see you with the results.